USA wants to do with this one. But with all that being said, we're going to be jumping into the land of Dawn here. It's a best of 3 between these two teams, United States and Ecuador, fighting for one of the slots here for the WEC. It's a best of 3, so it starts here in game number 1. We'll see. Ecuador came back from some great games yesterday, even being down. They showed discipline, so we'll see if they can do it here. Taking a real quick look at the emblems. Nothing crazy really popping out. Einar did go with the Brave Smite. Has that. You got the focusing mark on Cahill. That could help them out with some of the bursts that they're trying to get here. I think my biggest worry for Ecuador's lineup is, once again, the Edith Minotaur combo.
Definitely, right? I mean, very reactive too, up against a composition that technically wants to also go for these fights. I mean, for Luca, it's a good engage tool that he has with a penalty zone, unless he's trying to just utilize it to peel for Rosa, which is also a pretty good strategy. As long as they go equal in the early game, I would say this is going to be still very, very good for USA, because they do have some solid scalers with the Export, with the Sicilian, and honestly, the Clint's not bad either, because he is a lane bully up against the Moskov. That's a really good pick up against the Moskov already. Moskov is definitely going to have a hard time here in the lane itself. Whenever he wants to go for trades or minions, he's definitely going to have to get punished with a few of those basic attacks, and even the quick draw. It does a whole lot of damage, but again, it is T and a laning training arc, so not too sure who's actually playing here. I know who T is, but usually I believe he's the XP, so seeing him in Rome is definitely already very unique from Team USA. Maybe it's Shark, but maybe he just changed his name, right? We see who change his name all the time. Now he's Kimchi, man. And Fried Chicken is now Fried Horse.
Yeah, I was going to say I guess they just went with the name change as well, maybe for laning training arc, but this is an easy objective being secured here already for United States. So, the very standard setup that they do, this is a thing, teams with these kind of lineups and the experience that they have, that they're going to hit those timings. And so off to this kind of standard start already. Meanwhile, Ecuador is farming up the best they can. I think part of this too is just the fact that their lineup needs a little more time to build up. So it's okay if they don't just go and start to, fight right away anyway, or possibly even give up that first turtle. You can see them starting on the buffs here. Einar trying to work on this orange buff, but T's got the information. Tarzan might want to press this one in.
Yeah, Tarzan walks up. The orange buff gets secure still by Einar. Now gets caught with the Sanguine Claws, and they're actually going to go in. Last Insanity, Tarzan going to fall first blood over to Einar. Definitely a miscalculation from Team USA. And in the bottom side of the map, we do see that White Horse is actually going to pop into Primal Wrath in a 1v1 up against Lucas. Lucas is still able to survive under that turret, but hey, Ecuador pick up the kill on the board. And to remind all of you, this is a qualifier match. Whoever wins this will be able to qualify. White Horse is going to be caught, forced to flick around, and Lucas is right there to be able to get another kill, and it's Einar who picks up the first 2 kills in the game.
Wow, Ecuador coming out swinging, coming out hot in game number 1. And that's the fact that they get those 2 early kills too for Einar. I was wondering about the matchup in the jungle against the Alpha, but having this upper hand, they should be able to actually go ahead and scale up pretty well now with confidence in even going into this turtle. You're seeing the first items not there just yet, but it looks like it's going to be Enchanted Talisman first over here for Kimchi Man. Of course, too, you got just the leg plates right now for T. Gets that little bit of extra defense. And over on the other side, nothing locked in just yet, but the early start that they get keeps them even with USA in terms of economy. And that's good. That's good for Ecuador. Again, a lot of that's in Einar's hand now. There you go. He's got the battle axe now. Now he can go ahead and start this up, the war axe. So he gets the orange. I don't think they're going to be in here in time for the turtle. So, all right, Ecuador is just like, you know what? We're not going to worry about the turtles. I don't know if that's just a decision. Like, we're just going to go ahead and get these buffs, and we don't want to fight. But I thought they would be in a good position to actually contest that one.
Yeah, despite the lead they got with the 2 kills, I think it's a good decision for Ecuador not to take these fights, at least the first 2 turtles, right? And then they can actually look to go to contest for the 3rd turtle, because again, if you take a look at their composition, this is a scaling comp. Einar, even with the 2 kills, still needs to scale up, still needs to wait for some of those items. Bottom lane, though, Gonna go in. Last Insanity. Einar is on a killing spree. But now might be caught. Tarzan, Spirit of Alpha to the front there. The healing is there, but Einar will be shut down. That's a massive bounty over to Tarzan. What happened on the other side? Kimchi Man finding a kill. And in the bottom side of the map, it's again Lucas and Cahill. Everyone's getting picked off.
Everyone's getting picked off. Yeah, Kimchi Man able to get a kill himself. So, you know, in a split little matter of what, 60 seconds or so, or a minute, they get multiple fronts here for USA. And yeah, you were just saying, Mirko, you know, the Ecuador lineup is a scaling lineup. You need some time, you know, maybe that's why they gave up the first 2 turtles, just to focus on getting especially the stacks here for Nikolai. But with that happening, like, you further set yourself back. I mean, it's a very small gold lead that they've built up. So at this point, Ecuador, you know, do they not have enough firepower yet to deal with this? They got healing, you know, at least you have that. Again, they went with this Florian pick multiple times yesterday alone. Endless Battle being picked up here by Rosa, so Rosa's got that, but I think that's the question. We have to see if they're actually going to be able to contest the next one, or maybe the whole plan is to just buy enough time to get the stacks you need for a Lord, you know? But I just don't think USA, with what happened previously, I don't think they're going to let that happen.
That should be the plan for Ecuador. That should be the way they actually go. And that's why they didn't contest for the first 2 turtles. And at this point, because they lost a massive fight in the bottom side of the map, losing 3 members, I don't think they can even contest for this. They get a little bit of poke there with Rosa actually getting a bit of damage, but still really just waiting on the timers here for Nikolai, Rosa, and for Cahill. But at this point, I don't know if they actually want to be staying up top. Spirit of Destruction, the Connecting Spirit, Misery coming down, and my god, what happened to Cahill's HP? Obliterated in a split second. As in the bottom lane, they will have to just let go of that turret. Good rotations, or at least good mirroring for Ecuador. At least at this point, they're able to find trades on the map.
Well, such a good Spirit of Destruction. Laning training arc, able to find the mark and then just burst down. You know, Cahill, even having this healing, like, it's just not going to help with that kind of burst. And like, you're looking at the macro play right now happening from USA. They're making the moves around the map, and it's kind of tough to deal with because even Einar, you know, he's falling behind in terms of the jungle, the level that he had. So even with those early kills, the 2 kills that he got early on, finds himself still trying to keep up, you know, with Tarzan. And that's... Oh, hold on. He could be in trouble. Okay, he pops the last Insanity because he's got to be on the defense, but look at the bottom.
Yeah, Kimchi Man going to the Brilliance. T able to escape there from the bad impact. Rosa's trying to go for the chase. T gets the Flask of the Oasis. Cahill might be able to stop the recall, and he does. Even though he doesn't connect the stun over mid lane. Seems like it's going to be a skirmish again. The penalty zone actually connecting on laning training art, but he's still going to be able to kite away. White Horse walking forward, getting the kill, and saving laning training art, who has to flicker out there.
Yeah, defensively, but still, you know, they keep things together. Ecuador still farming up. I think that's the main point. Again, why we highlighted, especially Rosa, coming into the matchup. He's going to be a key component for them to hopefully fight into this, especially the Lord. You can see he's only got the Endless Battle, still working on the next item here. And for the rest of them, you know, you got Dominance Ice, you got the Glowing Wand, of course, for Nikolai, still building up. You got also, too, the Flask of the Oasis is now there for heal, so this should be enough to kind of help them out, but I don't know. I guess they still... Just look how fast the Lord is going down. You don't have a chance or an opportunity at all to even get in the area.
Not at all. And even now, for Einar, the fact that they have a lot of poke, T can actually just sustain back up. Einar wins out that red tree battle there, and it gets him back to at least just down for 1 level. Because for the most part, it has been Tarzan leading with 2. They go into the bottom side of the map now, going for that turret down below. And if you take a look at the damage dealt, 16,000 damage. Most of the damage actually has been coming through Kimchi Man on the Lunox, which is definitely an interesting member to have the most damage in the early game, right? You'd still expect the Lunox to be the one scaling up in this composition with the Moskov, but hey, I guess for Kimchi Man, he just knows how to utilize that damage now. Good Spear of Misery over to Einar. Kimchi Man gonna be chunked so low, forced to use the Chaos defensively. Tarzan is acting as the front line there, trying to stop a dive from happening towards Kimchi Man. It does seem like for Hoon this time, he's going to be forced to recall as the Lord spawns up top and is marching down. Tarzan tries to utilize this pressure to get control over the orange buff that is going to be spawning. White Horse in the bottom side of the map will actually be able to pick up a turret there, even without the Primal Wrath. Mid lane, laning training arc getting the tier 1. Now the Lord on it. Penalty zone locking him down. Tarzan still able to disengage. T has to walk out of it and will be able to do so. This time Tarzan still taking the orange buff away for himself as he's looking to go for it. Good Sanguine Claws to stop an engage from happening. T walking forward, getting the knockout Spear of Alpha onto Lucas, who doesn't have the penalty zone, but does have a whole lot of healing and sustain. Body of Smith definitely, you know, taking part of that crazy tankiness of his.
Keeping them together, yeah, like you mentioned too, with the healing from Kahil here. So right now, I would say Ecuador, it's almost like you're just trying to stop the bleeding, you know, and that's been the case for the majority of this game because they're just playing to the tune of USA right now. And like we kind of expected with the lineup that they have, it's more so like they want to get to the late game. If they have to lose their turrets, I guess, at this point in the objectives, then at least it gets them to a point where they're just farming up, getting the stacks that they need. You can even see here, too, like the damage earlier on from Rosa was good. Rosa plus the bad impacts from Nikolai, that frontal focal point that this lineup gives them it can be a threat as long as they stay alive and as long as they have the peel they need, because at some point, too, you know, T could just decide to go ahead and flicker in Minoy and Fury. And they have a lot of frontal ways to go forward against Ecuador. So it's almost like this push and pull where Ecuador has to be very cautious about how far front they are and not to get cut off between, you know, their front line and the back line, of course, because they only have really relying on their flickers and then the heals coming out from Kahil. So for Ecuador, again, as they go ahead and stack up, you saw earlier when we took a look at the damage too, Nikolai was doing a lot of damage. Like he has it. But, you know, at one point, if you just get crashed down on, you only have a flicker. And maybe if you can land the claws. But, see, again, did they actually get here in time? I think they're way too late to the Lord.
Good Sanguine Claw, though, able to get 2T, still able to escape. Spirit Destruction to the back now. Flying Horse flickering forward. Rose is going to be targeted down. And Flying Horse gets it. Knocked down by the penalty zone. Now knocked up again, though. White Horse still able to sustain for a bit, but will be slain. Meanwhile, laning Trading Arc. Look at the piercing damage through the minions, almost taking Cahill down. For USA, they pick up the second Lord, and I think that might have been the fastest second Lord that we've seen in the American regional qualifier, because it's not even an enhanced Lord. It's still the little small one.
Oh, man. They blew through the Lord, and now they're just going to go through these turrets, too. You know, I feel like the training arc is almost completed here. The laning has been completed, and now they're up to the base.
If this is a training arc, you can already imagine later on what the arcs are going to be here, because he's already really looking good for just being in the laning training arc. So to be fair, he's not laning anymore, right? So at least that part of the name is already inaccurate. The training arc part, I don't know. If this is still his training arc, he's definitely got a lot of potential here, especially as we get towards the later stage of the game, as he gets level 15 here in the 13th minute, and I'll be very interested to see what items he's already picked up in the first 13 minutes at this point, right? Because on the Moskov, 3 assists, but getting a whole lot of farm. Does he have all the 3 item power spikes that he needs, plus the Malefic Roar, or is he going for a bit more defense against Nikolai, who's pretty well stacked up?
Yeah, that's 51,000 damage already, too, and he just picked up the Divine Glaive. So, you know, if at any point, this is where I was saying, at least for Ecuador, they're clearing up the Lords, plus those charged up minion lanes, too, pretty well. And I think, you know, that's something that they can play into. If they can get another 5 minutes or so, or maybe be in a position to actually contest the next Lord, because you got the Ice Queen wand now too, plus the Immortality here for INR. So defensively, things are falling into place for Ecuador. They should be able to go ahead and at least be in the zone against this Lord take, because like we saw earlier, it happens so fast. If USA decides to give it a go, you know, they burn through that Lord, and I think Ecuador cannot continue to let that happen, you know, for the 3rd, 4th Lord, or whatever this ends up getting to. But looking at that items from the USA too, they're pretty much locked in, you know, nearly working on their last couple items here for some of them. But defensively too, they have a great front line, they have a great peel if they need it. But so far from what we've seen, even from laning training arc, he hasn't really needed it. The positioning that he's getting with the Spear Destruction has been on point for the most part, and he's able to put down pressure on these side lanes too, you know, and that's something that Ecuador always has to deal with, because I mean, that's what they're going to go for now. Lord comes up in about 15 seconds. You keep laning training arc there and put pressure on that side lane, and he'll it's easy to land the Spear Destruction when they're all bunched up around the Lord, and that's what they could bank on. But again, who is going to handle that? Who's going to handle the waves from Ecuador? You know, and that's something they have to decide. Of course, Nikolay should be able to do it really quickly, but look at this again. Lord's just going to be taken down in an instant.
Yeah, and this is the strength and the weakness technically for Team Ecuador, because technically when it comes to clear, they're really, really good. They have a Clint, they have an Exborg, and they have a Sicilian. So maybe that's the whole strategy here. They're just going to turtle in their base, wait for USA to make a mistake, and then punish them if they make that mistake. But it has to be a big one, like a massive mistake for USA here, because for Ecuador, what they have in defense, wave clear, they lack in a whole lot of the skirmishing power, because if they do go for a dive against Team USA, who at this point are 11,000 gold ahead, like we expected, or like I assumed earlier, it's actually the defensive items that Laning Training Arc has actually opted for. Not going for the Malefic Roar this time, not going for extra damage, but going for the Wind of Nature and the Rose Gold Meteor. And I think this is a very wise choice to go for. Up against a composition that wants to just turtle in their base, you gotta go for the defenses, and you just gotta go and start hitting the turrets, right? It's all about sieging at this point. Once those base turrets get taken down, Kimchi, man, forced to use the Brilliance already. But at the bottom side of the map, Laning Training Arc doing a whole lot of damage, picking up the base turret, and also up top. Despite Ecuador's amazing wave clear, they're not able to actually manage the waves properly here. And it's going to be another wave in a mid lane. White Horse, an amazing Earth Shatter, now into the Spear of Alpha, and now they all get knocked up. The turret going to be taken down. Trading Arc jumping forward with the Spear of Destruction. Luca's going to be taken down under the base there, but no, he still survives. The Flask of the Erase is now going straight for the base itself. 16 minutes. It's a winner crown by Tarzan as they end the game to secure game number